Hey, gentlemen, we're gonna go through our match day plan for our game tomorrow against Granite City. Just a reminder that you guys are responsible for traveling to St. Cloud. The address for Tech High School has been sent in a prior email, so make sure that you're aware of where you're going. Um, as far as game day roster, you've seen it before. I think some of the big highlights to this is that we're bringing just one goalkeeper. So obviously we got to do our bit and make sure that we protect Mitch and keep Mitch, to be honest, just bored, so we don't have to worry about him being injured at any point. But I think we're going to be in good shape. The positive being that obviously we can put 7 new field players on the game and really have change the outcome with the quality of our depth. Game day itinerary, we need to be there at the stadium by 6 so we can get uniforms and get that first chat out of the way. Make sure that you're there on time. Again, good habits reflects your interest in being a part of the club and being on time. If something comes up traffic-wise, obviously communicate it. But our similar pattern, so we do have locker rooms, so we want to get going at 6:30. Same warm-up, back in by 7:10 for a final chat, and then we're walking out at 7:20 for a 7:30 kickoff. Objectives, really want to lean on that first point mentality. We are preparing for more than just tonight, so we're all still developing players, and it's very important that we understand the importance of how we prepare ourselves for the game. Given opportunities at the higher level, you can have a bad 5-minute run early in a game that could spell the doom for your season or your role within a team or a club. So it's very important that from the first minute, collectively and individually, we're ready to go. That means you take care of your warm-up, you take care of what you need to do, you make sure that we're not using the first 15 minutes or even the half as a warm-up. A big thing for me, I think it's our depth and our organization will win. I think we'll be more consistently organized, and we're going to keep bringing in top players. Just something that most of the teams in the UPSL and our conference can't handle. I will highlight, I think one of our big priorities is, completing those passes in the attacking half, and we're getting better. So we were close to, we were about 140 passes against Futures, and given the rough start, I'm pretty happy with that and the fact that we changed the team out halfway of every half. So that's improving, and we're really using our pressing, especially against Futures, to show that we can pin people in and then use our play in the attacking half to be more dangerous. And then the final reminder that, this goes across the board. You're wearing a City shirt. 3 points is all that's expected. As I mentioned before, it's when you don't get those 3 points, when you hear about it. We're expected to win. We're expected to be the top dog. We go out and take care of business. So starters, just a little bit of a change. Luke Lindsay's going to move out to the left side of our wing back. Will, Logan, and Ethan will be our back 3, and Wes Lawrence will be our right-sided wing back. Scotty, again, will be as the holder, and Abai and now McCrae will be our 2 10s. I'm excited to see this combination, especially their dynamic ability to get forward and create some issues off the dribble. And then Cole and Derek as our 2 strikers. So team shape, at this point, I think we should be pretty familiar with it. I think we're starting to see some of the combinations can happen. Really making sure, especially starting early, our strikers stay high. If Derek has a tendency to drop in and pick up the ball, if he feels it's necessary, we have to rotate and cover the space high and keep pinning their back line. We want to keep their back line away so we have that space centrally. And I think, as you'll see with their structure, our back 3, one of those center backs will be able to be released forward and get into the attack a little bit based on their structure and their shape of play. Talked about this last time. Consistency in our shape, consistency in our roles. Don't take one moment off. It's important that we're there for Mitch, our center backs, everyone in the build-up in consistent places, so we know where people are, we know where the solutions are, and making sure that we fulfill our roles in the structure. Looking at Granite City, from what I've seen, and most recently with the Rochester, they played a 4-3-3, defended in a 4-1-4-1. So very similar to what we saw on Wednesday, which is nice. Like what we really want to highlight is when we really get in our full attacking organization and our full flow, we really can get upwards to 4 or 5 players across that line up front. And what I think is going to cause Granite City the most trouble is this 4v3 that we can create centrally. Our wing backs will really be able to occupy their outside backs, and then we have 2 strikers on their center backs, and then we have 2 attacking mids that can make those movements in behind. And really what that creates is a dangerous 4v3 in that central zone. And they obviously have to react to that overload. Either they're going to pull players back, or the outside backs have to pinch in, which obviously frees up our wing backs to be dangerous. So let's really get positioned in those high spaces to really force those 3 players to figure out what to do with us. From a defensive perspective, here it is again, looking at playing against that 4-3-3 and where we struggled early. If trying to communicate our roles defensively was when we do play against a 3 front, we don't necessarily need all 5 players to deal with that. So as the ball would possibly circulate out of the central zone because we squeezed it out to the outside back, it's important that our wing backs are willing to jump out and press their outside back. We've got to be aggressive. The important thing to note is with that pressure, you cannot let them go down line. That's the space you're leaving. And our shape when we press has to force the game backwards. We don't want it to go inside. We don't want it to go down the line. And obviously press with the aggression to win the ball. But if we're there in that organized shape, we're able to create this next picture. So then that our wing back has now jumped out. That person, that outside back, doesn't know where to go with the ball. And now he can shift across. And like we mentioned, we become much more of a 4-4-2 appearance of the 2 banks of 4 and our 2 strikers. And that backside striker is always there to drop in and nip a holding mid or anyone that would be available for us to get on the ball. So it's definitely important to understand that. Our success Wednesday as far as pressing and defending came from those moments. What we're going to look at is, I think it's nice to look again at our structure when we did press, and I think it's something that we can look to do again. I don't think it's something that we should or need to be doing for 90 minutes, but I think it's nice to have that and experience it like we did on Wednesday. So definitely one of the benefits. So what I highlighted here was what was our man marking approach. So in the high pressure, we went man to man. We went very aggressive with our man approach. We really want the goalkeeper to be the problem solver. So, and if you saw, especially if you watched the game, the goalkeeper gave us some balls, either playing long into us or coughed up the ball in bad places. So there's definitely some positives. What we're going to highlight is the 9, and this is where I spoke with some other strikers, is as the ball happens to maybe move from a center back to the goalkeeper, and the 9 or then one of the strikers decides to keep pressing it, and actually Abai did this in one of his moments where he about nicked a goal coming from the middle. Your press, or the line at which you go to press the ball, cannot allow the ball to go back from which the space you left. So it's really important that our right-sided striker does not let the goalkeeper pass the ball to the left center back. So their movement, their path that they take has to be bent, and their body has to deny the ball. All that does is it really locks in the game and makes it really easy for us to jump on it. If we don't take that away, that pass into the space in which we left is the killer. And that's how teams will break our pressure. Here's an image of it just so we can see it live. You can see where we're all locked in. Cole, the right-sided striker, is another good example. So their left center back is out of the picture. Cole has actually come across as he starts to apply pressure to the goalkeeper. He's taking up a shape where the goalkeeper can't play back to his left. Derek as well is kind of sitting in between, denying that ball inside as much as possible. And you can locate everyone else. We got West, the right wing back, taking care of their left back. Abai is sitting on their 6, who coughed the ball up a couple of times. McRae is ready to jump on Jacob Hopkin, and then Connor is sitting out there with Abdi ready to float around and pick up their 10. So it's a really good image, guys. I really think it's probably one of the highlights of our game was how we did adjust to that. Once we decided to have that pressing mentality, it was really tough for them to go. So finally, we'll just bring back to what our objectives. It's really important to kind of close on this. Mentality, guys. Mentality is going to be really important. So from the start, not waiting around for that invitation to have to probably bring the intensity necessary. We don't need to dig ourselves a hole for us to find our intensity. So make sure that we're ready from the start. Continue to, we're at the top of the table. Everyone's coming for us. So we got our pride in keeping our place and keeping that undefeated run through the season. So making sure we take care of that. I will say, though, it's not on here, is, we always have this to go back into, and this will be included in the presentation with the set piece information. We have the ability, and again, looking at the strength of some of our players that we're going to bring in with the likes of Steven and Jacob and Abdi, and Adam King, and then obviously Josue, we can go right back into this 3-4-3 and create that box. And I think especially with their 3 center midfielders and their 4-1-4-1 shape, in the back end of the game, this shape could really cause them trouble. Having that box midfield could be too much for them to handle. So, no, it's there. No, it's very likely that we'll be going back into it. But again, guys, all that stuff really doesn't matter if we don't take care of this. So, all right, I will get this stuff sent out to you via email and a PDF, but I will see everyone in St. Cloud on Saturday.